Picture a caveman, hunched over, grunting, dragging a club behind him, barely smarter than the animals he's hunting. That image is so deeply embedded in how we think about our ancient relatives that it barely registers as a choice anymore. It's in cartoons, it's in movies. It's the default mental picture almost everyone reaches for. And it's almost entirely wrong. The real evidence paints a picture of minds that were, in some ways, doing things we're still trying to fully understand. The dumb caveman idea rests on a simple assumption. Older means simpler. Fewer tools, less language, less culture, so obviously less intelligence. It's an intuitive story. It's also one that keeps collapsing every time researchers actually look closely at the evidence. Start with stone tools, since banging rocks together is basically shorthand for primitive thinking. But look closely at how the most sophisticated Paleolithic tools were actually made, deliberate and controlled, and banging rocks together stops making sense as a description. Archaeologists call one advanced method the Levallois technique. It isn't a single strike. It's a sequence. A toolmaker had to select the right stone, then shape the entire core through a series of careful preparatory strikes, each one setting up the next, long before the final blow that actually detached the finished tool. Change the sequence, or the angle of a single early strike, and the whole plan fails. Cognitive archaeologist Thomas Wynne has argued that this kind of tool-making required something specific: the ability to hold a multi-step plan in mind and execute it in the correct order, well before seeing the final result. That's not muscle memory. That's forward planning. And it wasn't limited to modern humans. Neanderthals used these same prepared core techniques for hundreds of thousands of years. Next, consider something that primitive minds supposedly couldn't do at all: art. In 2018, a team led by geochronologist Dirk Hoffman published a striking claim in the journal Science. Using uranium-thorium dating, they examined mineral crusts that had formed over cave paintings at 3 sites in Spain, including a cave called La Pasiega. Their dating placed some of that art at more than 64,000 years old. That's at least 20,000 years before modern humans are known to have reached that part of Europe, which left one striking implication: this art couldn't have been made by us. It had to have been made by Neanderthals. Now, it's worth being honest here. This finding has real scientific pushback. Some researchers argue the dating method may have been affected by mineral contamination, making the art look older than it actually is. The debate isn't fully settled, but even the researchers challenging the exact dates aren't arguing Neanderthals were incapable of symbolic thought. And this study joins a growing pile of separate evidence: pierced shells, pigments, deliberately arranged objects, all pointing toward the same conclusion. Symbolic behavior wasn't uniquely ours. Then there's the brain itself. If caveman means smaller brain, the numbers don't cooperate. On average, adult Neanderthal cranial capacity measured somewhere between 1,500 and 1,600 cubic centimeters. The average for modern humans today, roughly 1,350. Neanderthals, on average, had bigger brains than we do. Now, bigger doesn't automatically mean smarter. Some of that extra volume likely supported their larger, more muscular bodies, not necessarily extra cognitive processing. The shape differed too. Neanderthal skulls were more elongated. Ours are more rounded. But the crude version of the stereotype, small-brained, barely thinking brute, simply isn't supported by the skulls themselves. And here's the part that makes this personal, not just historical. In 2010, geneticist Svante Pääbo's team successfully sequenced a complete Neanderthal genome. It was a technical achievement so significant it eventually won him the Nobel Prize. What his team found: modern humans outside Africa carry somewhere between 1 and 4% Neanderthal DNA, not as some ancient curiosity sealed away in the past. Living, active genetic material in the cells of billions of people right now. Neanderthals and modern humans didn't just coexist. At some point, tens of thousands of years ago, they interbred repeatedly across a wide stretch of Eurasia. A species supposedly too primitive to matter left a permanent mark on the genome of the species that replaced it. So the planner, patiently executing a multi-step stone tool sequence. The painter, working by torchlight on a cave wall, tens of thousands of years before anyone we'd call modern. The owner of a brain that, by raw size, outmeasured our own. The ancestor, quite literally, of a measurable percentage of you. None of that fits inside a grunting, club-dragging cartoon. The real story isn't that Neanderthals were secretly geniuses waiting to be discovered. It's that the line we drew between primitive and modern was always cruder than the minds on either side of it. Next time that cartoon image comes to mind, remember, some of what made it into that cave, onto that tool, into that genome, might still be sitting inside you.